Hello and Happy New Year and welcome to the Benie Uche Show. It is such a delight with gratitude to God that we're here once again in the year 2011, January the month is, and a spectacular one for that too. Because for me, and I think for those also who are interested in numbers, the year 2011 is very significant in many ways. This is the year where we had 1/1/11. January 1, 2011. And it's the beginning of a new decade. And like I said, in terms of numbers, you know 11 times 11 gives you 121. Why don't you get a pen and paper? Try multiplying 111 times 111. You can also take it further. 11,011 times 11,011. And if you take it to the millions, you'll get to a stage where you'll get to numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it starts going back to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the homework for you. But welcome again to the Benie Uche Show, and it's such a delight to be with you. On the set today, we are going to look at what are our projections for 2011. And I'm delighted to have two distinguished guests who are very capable of talking to you on what their perceptions and perspectives are for 2011. I just want to tell you to please get comfortable because it's going to be an interesting ride. We'll be right back.
Benie Uche, the Benie Uche Show. You watching the Benie Uche, the Benie Uche Show.
Welcome back. Just in case you're joining us, you just missed the maths test. But anyway, we'll find out who the first 5 winners will be, and then they'll get prizes from my guests. We'll let you know about that later. You are watching the Benie Uche Show, and this is our edition on projections for 2011. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my first guest, who's sitting right next to me. He is Mr. Bolaji Uthman. I know him as a builder of partnerships for development. He is currently the Director General, Lagos State Heritage and Development Bureau, a public information manager, a historian of many sorts, and a scholar on Lagos. He actually can tell you about the Lagos Heritage and Development from when it started to the current day. He is a collector and keeper of Lagos State activities. Can you imagine? He's loaded. Mr. Uthman, you're welcome to the Benie Uche Show.
Thank you very much. Nice seeing you in the new year, and Happy New Year to you.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
And sitting right next to Mr. Uthman is...
My name is Nneka Okekearu, and I'm currently the Center Manager for Enterprise Development Center. EDC is the Entrepreneurship Center of Pan-African University, and the center grooms entrepreneurs. We provide them training, we provide them support services, and we provide them enough services so that when they leave, they build sustainable enterprises. At EDC, we don't believe that training is everything. Training is only just the first course. It's like a 3-course meal. The starter is training. The main course is actually the hand-holding. After you teach entrepreneurs what next, it's time to implement. And you find out at that stage, they currently have a lot of challenges trying to implement what they learned in class. That's where we come in. We offer them support services. And then the main thing, the dessert, the funding. We can't give money, but we prepare them so that when they do go looking for funds, they get the funds. And that's what we do at Enterprise Development Center.
That's interesting, Nneka. And it seems to me like, this is, it's been, entrepreneurship was a big thing, in 2010. And I don't see it going away, and there's no reason why it should go away. You've done so much. I know that EDS has done so much in 2010. And for you in 2011, are you going to go back to revisit the status or the progress that has been made by those who passed through your institution? What are your, I mean, I know there are new programs, you said were coming up. Could you share some of those with us?
Okay, yes. 2010 was extremely busy. And I'm happy to say, even though that's a lot of work, that 2011 will be much, much more busy than 2010. Monitoring and evaluation plays a very key role in all our programs. So we keep an eye on entrepreneurs that pass through us. Those that are registered members with EDS actually get visits. We visit them on site. We offer them consultants. Some consultants are extremely reduced price to help them with one or two problems that they're having. And after that, if they do require any other thing, they're free to come back to the center. But by and large, 2011 for us is going to be a busy year. We have a program that we're doing with the federal government, which I think most people are aware about. So it's EDC is a national coordinator, and we're doing that with Bank of Industry, whereby in the 6 geopolitical zones, all the enterprise centers that are university connected get trained. And then after being trained, they now train entrepreneurs and prepare them for running their own businesses. There's a fund that has been set aside specifically for that with BOI, and BOI will discharge, but we will coordinate the program. The second program that we have is being run by Diamond Bank. It's called Building Entrepreneurs Today. That program is very interesting in that it's actually like a competition. So you actually apply, and if you're lucky and you get selected, out of those that apply, we only select 50. They undergo a training, very rigorous entrepreneurship training. And after those 50 have undergone through that training, we now pre-select another 15. And those 15 get support services. After that 15 have gone through a couple of support services through, over some months, the final 5 get a seed grant, not loan, seed grant from Diamond Bank. It's a wonderful program. And finally, our major program, which is gender sensitive, is our Goldman Sachs Scholarship Program. This year, we start rolling it out in Abuja, actually next month, February. So all women out there that are running businesses, we're still taking applications. Please apply, www.eds.com.ng. Apply for the scholarship. It's a 5-month program for training, but a whole 1 year for support services. So those are some of the activities that we've planned for 2011.
That sounds loaded. Mr. Uthman, you heard Nneka.
Yeah.
I know before the program we tried to tease each other. You are a partnership builder. You've heard her.
Yeah.
And I know you've been known to do an excellent job with that. What can you tell us? What are your new initiatives that are coming up?
Well, I think our only initiative will be within the context of the statutory responsibility, which has to do with records and archives management. We are a very new agency in Nigeria. Lagos State Records and Archives Bureau was established in 2007, formally came into existence in 2008 via the executive order of the Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Raji Fashola. We are just barely 2 years on the stream, and we thank God, with the support of the government and the people of Lagos State, we have been able to engage critical stakeholders at both local and international level in the years gone. In the new year, God willing, we are going to have our permanent repository made open to the public. Okay. It's a prototype repository, perhaps one of the very few in Nigeria.
Interesting.
It's located within the Magodo GRA in the Koshofe area, within the precinct of the Public Service Staff Development Center, PSS DC. Within it, we are having high-grade archives equipment of the latest that will enable us to preserve our record for as long as 500 years, particularly using microfilm. If you use microfilm, you are going to have your records preserved. And that will ensure that Lagos State Records, which is one of the oldest records in Nigeria, you recall that Lagos State is the oldest polity in modern times, having been conquered and in 1851 and annexed in 1861, and that makes us older. And since then, we have had written records about Lagos State. So you can imagine the volume of records we have. And all of these records are scattered all over the world. We have records in Lisbon, we have records in Brazil, you have cultural exchange between the people of Lagos and Brazil. Of course, you remember the Brazilian quarters in Lagos. There are people that connect with the Hispanic area. Yeah. We have records in Sierra Leone. We have people from Ologbowo who are referred to as the Saros. We also have records in the UK because of our earlier interactions with the British government. So in the new year, we hope with the commissioning of our repository, we will start the process of accessioning and reproduction of records from global repositories. Within Nigeria, we have commenced the process and we are going to intensify the process of engaging with institutions and individuals who have a lot of records in their custody, particularly those Nigerians who have had the distinguished honor of holding positions of responsibility, both in the public and private sector, who have enormous records about governance and development of Lagos State. Because without having those records, we will not be able to know how to chart our way forward. Lagos grew from the status of a village to become a first-class township in Nigeria in 1917. And today, progressively became a metropolitan now. Now Lagos is a mega city. We're hoping that Lagos will be an hyper city, you know. And so the Lagos State Records and Archives Bureau is committed to preserving these development milestones of Lagos so that we can assert and project this distinctive personality of Lagos as the center of excellence and the state of aquatic splendor.
It's interesting the way you've put it. Yes, the state of aquatic splendor. And in terms of population, did we say 18 million and counting?
Yes, that's what we said.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, the mega city is actually a status conferred on Lagos State by the UN system based on the population of Lagos. Okay. Lagos has one of the highest population dynamics in the world. Indeed, by the UN estimate in 2000 said, the population of Lagos is said to be growing at the rate of over 5% per annum, making it the fastest growing mega city in the world.
Oh my goodness.
By their projections, I think we would have hit about 20 million population in 2010. So if you go by the UN estimate, we are 20 million still counting. And that presents the enormous challenges for governance and development.
You know, when you were articulating the history of Lagos State, I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's the man with the history and cultural heritage information about Lagos, not only Lagos, but Nigeria. But then, Mr. Uthman, where do you see, Nigeria going in 2011 in terms of projecting itself culturally? The historical information is there, because I know you have this information on Nigerian culture.
Yeah.
You are one person who can close his eye, and take people around Lagos Island, pointing out everywhere. So where do you think that's leading us in 2011?
2011, Nigeria is going to move higher and higher and higher. Okay. This country is blessed with tremendous cultural diversity. We are a nation of over 250 ethnic groups. Okay. And so the plurality of our diversity is our strength. And that is one thing that goes plus for us. So we have a lot of artistic heritage sites and cultural, both material culture and immaterial culture, to project and attract. All over Nigeria, there are places of interest to visit. Nigerians don't need to visit other parts of the world to look for spring water, hot water, cave, or mountains, or the beaches. We have one of the longest beach stretch in Africa. Indeed, even Lagos State alone has a 180-kilometer waterfront on the Atlantic. And from Badagry down to Calabar is very, very extensive. There's hardly any country along the Atlantic western seaboard that has that extensive Atlantic littoral waterfront. That makes Nigeria tremendous. If you go into the interior of Nigeria, you have caves at Egbunike, you have mountains at Adamawa, you have Obudu Ranch. We had a lot of modern racing and things like that are on. If you go to, we have so many geo-ecological beds that have its own intrinsic values. So within Nigeria in 2011, I see Nigeria as the cultural and fashion center of Africa, with Lagos as the platform to that change.
Nneka, you heard him. What do you have to add to that? I mean, you deal with entrepreneurs.
I deal with entrepreneurs, and we're looking forward to that. 20 million and counting. Yes. It brings me to a major challenge our entrepreneurs face, infrastructure. How are you guys planning for that? Because it seems to be giving us so much headache. the traffic, the lights. How we planning for that? From my point of view, from the private sector entrepreneurs, there's so many man-hours being lost in traffic every day. Yeah. And we're surrounded by water. What can we do with the waterways to reduce traffic? Can we have a ferry system, something organized? Take some traffic off the road.
That's a good one.
Well, thank you very much. As you know, the government of Lagos State, it's a government that is based on careful planning. And the present administration has a policy trust. And that policy trust is poverty eradication and sustainable economic growth through infrastructure renewal and development. Based on that policy trust, the government had mapped out its 10-point agenda, to make Lagos Africa's model megacity and economic hub. On the basis of these driving values, government has committed and still committing over 60% of its annual budget on infrastructure renewal and development in all the 5 administrative divisions of Lagos State and the local government areas of the states. With respect to you, find out that a lot of new roads are being upgraded. The upgrading is to accommodate more traffic, and indeed in the present corridor of Ikoyi, you find new bridges being connected between the Lekki Phase 1 and Ikoyi, all in a bid to ease the congestion on the Ozumba-Mbadiwe. The Ozumba-Mbadiwe itself is being expanded to be able to accommodate the population upsurge, because the Lekki axis is the fastest growing axis in in Africa now.
Amazing.
So much of work is going on there. And you can see also the government on the other side, on the Badagry corridor, is also commenced construction work on the expanded Lagos-Badagry Expressway. And there is also doing similar thing in other parts of the state. They have this thing they call the model cities development, which is about seeing Lagos megacity as an aggregation of different population cells, or what you call growth poles, and trying to have development plans for each of those growth poles and integrate them within a grand plan. And so that if you look at all the roads, there have been new roads, old roads have been expanded, drainages are being constructed to take all the waters, and the channels have been opened up to reduce flooding. With respect to schools, there's an ongoing school rehabilitation program. If you go, massive school rehabilitation is going in terms of provision of fixtures, furnitures, language laboratories, and other things for the school. It may not be enough, but then you can imagine from where we are coming from and from the challenges Lagos faces in terms of population upsurge. Again, even in terms of power, you can see the state government partner with the private sector to provide an IPP for the Akute power plant, engaging with the Ohando people. You can also see the Lagos State being the pathfinder in deploying IPP at the AES power plants, initially called the Egbe. The Aaron that became the AES. That initiative of Lagos State government is now being replicated all over the federation. And public-private partnership, again, is one thing Lagos State prides itself. In year 2000, we were the first state in the federation to kickstart the process of state engagement in a formal structure with its development partners. And that gave back to what